Okay, so here's what you need to know about this part. So this is a really nice segue from what we've just been doing, because we've already, the key thing that I really want to get clear for you is that you're not one human need, you're all of the human needs. You have them all within you in a different order, but you have all the human needs. You're not significance or growth or certainty, you have all of them. And this model is very similar. So we already covered it at the beginning with the benefit of the ladies that joined us a little bit later. This comes from something called Tetramap, which basically uses nature as a way of showing how we are all interlinked, but yet we're all very different. So the beauty of this model is it uses the food already?
No, just drinks.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, oh my god. Wow, that was
Yeah, that's black oil and soda.
Lime and soda? Is it both lime and soda?
Yeah.
Not
Four
ice?
lime and sodas. So it's
And 2 more? Is there enough ones?
one box.
Black currant and soda?
wearing
That's
turkey
a bit late in your car.
Vodka and soda.
Kelly,
Diet Coke.
wearing turkey
Dark
coat.
Coke. That's Kyle.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
that's fine.
Not being that been to Natalia and Margaret though.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Coke zero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
great. Yeah. It's really hot there, isn't it, this week?
Yeah, it was 39 yesterday.
Oh. Nice. Sounds good. Cool. Browner than me when you get back. So, yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to just dive straight in. I'm going to explain what each of the elements represent. So remember, like nature, we need the earth, we need the air, we need the water, and we need the sun. So we have all 4 elements. This is a bit like hobs on an oven. We have all 4. So this is not you're one and you're that and Carl's that and Alex is that. You're all of these elements. But what we're going to do is we've got a test which takes all of 30 seconds, which will show you numerically what order you're in, which will basically mean we're all going to understand each other. You're all going to fully understand what personality type you most lean towards. So we'll go through them now. So the first one is earth. So people that are high earth are very driven, very direct, so probably quite entrepreneurial types will be this, very bold and very decisive. So don't worry, probably you don't even need to worry so much about writing this down, because I think the questionnaire has, you can, the questionnaire that we're going to hand out has everything in there, so just so you know. So earth types are very driven, very direct, very bold, very decisive. People that are this personality type, especially in terms of members, if we talk specifically about members, they're probably going to be the type of people that come in, have a workout, probably minimal engagement with the team, just get in, do their workout and get out. They may do classes, they may do cardio, they may do weights, they won't be tied to one particular area of the gym, but they're the kind of people that are probably here at the same time every day. They have a workout for the same amount of time and they're in and out. They're not really socializing much. Doesn't mean that they're introverted or anything like that. It just means they're a busy, driven, time-scheduled individual, and they want to get in and get out in the most effective fashion as possible. Those people are very earth. In business, you'll find it's people like CEOs, managers, leaders. Those types of people are very they've got to be very bold, they've got to make quick decisions. They're not indecisive, they're very quick on their decisions, and they're very direct. So if you speak to an earth person, you may find they may say something in a way and you think they may be a bit rude, and I'll talk about what your personality type may be like if you interpret that as rude. They're not being rude, they're maybe just being direct. You know, hey Sam, could you, I've literally got 5 minutes, could you do that for me now? That'd be great. And depending on your personality profile will depend on how well you receive that. If you're an earth as well, you'll be like, yeah, cool, yeah, on it, back in 5 minutes. But if you're one of the other personality types, you may get offended or get the hump or think, whoa, why did they speak to me that way, etc. So that's earth types. See, this is all going to come out because you'll all be starting to think about which one you're most like already. It's quite funny when you get to the last one because I know who the last ones are just because you'll tell. So the second types are air. These people are very analytical. They love details, they love specifics, and they love logic. These people would happily spend hours in a spreadsheet. So they love data. So in a business, obviously you need a person that is the front of house, but you also need somebody that maybe is the person that does the admin. People that like admin, not me, but people that genuinely go, yeah, I like admin, are probably high air. They're probably high air. So getting people to do admin that aren't high air, if you go in, I just asked them to do this little admin task, why haven't they done it? It's probably because they're not high air. And you may be better suited to giving the admin to someone who is high air if you want that job done as quickly and effectively as possible. Now the key thing is, we have all these elements. So like I've learned to, won't say like admin, but I've just scheduled myself in a way so that I make sure I do it. Because I don't enjoy it, but I know it has to be done. So I just make the time to do it so that I know it gets done. Otherwise, if it's not scheduled, it's not going to get done. But people that love admin will be like, yes, it's time to do admin. And they get to sit on the computer and do admin because they really don't want to get out there and socialise on the gym floor. They would much prefer to sit at a spreadsheet and do all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. So air people love details, analysis, logic, data. Third is water. So these people are really into feelings. They trust their gut instinct. They make a lot of connections. So these people really enjoy relationships with people. So relationships with people is really important to them. So, and also they will, if you speak to them in a certain way and they kind of basically get upset or annoyed about it, then it suggests that this person is high water because they like to be spoken to in, let's say, a gentle manner. And if you're not a water person, and you speak to them in a way that's not water, and they don't do what you want them to do, or they get the hump about what you've asked them to do, it may be just as simple as the fact that this is their personality preference. So on the gym floor, this is the type of person who may say, like Lauren pointed out, I don't know if I want to do the weights because, it feels intimidating in there.
Get bulky.
Yeah, or they'll say things like it feels a bit daunting in the weights room. We know that if you break it down logically, feels daunting. If you're not a water person, you hear that and go, what do you mean it feels daunting? If ever you've heard that said and you're confused by that, feels daunting, what do you want about? It just means that you're not high water. So you're not able to kind of see that yet. You're not able to experience that because when you're like, it's just weights. It's just a room with clanging weights. What are you on about? It feels intimidating. But for a water person, feelings, environment, feeling comfortable, feeling safe is really important to them. And the last one, you'll know who you are if you're this type, are fire. So these are people that like fun, they're positive, they have high energy and they have lots of enthusiasm. Generally I run these workshops, it's really funny because the water people just immediately go, "Whoa!" like that, because they are obviously singling themselves out as, yeah, that's me. They kind of want to be known as fire. Fire people like the attention. I found that people that do a lot of group exercise classes that facilitate group exercise probably a high fire because they're the type of people that are happy to be front and centre. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are like that. People that are on the gym floor, you'll know the members who are the social butterflies on the gym floor that just come in, and the minute they walk in, you know they're there. Like you can all think about who those members are. They're probably the loud ones. They will be high fire. Right? So they're the four types.
I'm not to this side either.
So what we're going to do is, if we could pass, Carl, if you could pass those down your side. Kelly, if you can pass those down. I don't think I've got I don't know if I've got enough for everyone, but I think I've definitely got maybe one person might miss out, but it's fine, we can always wonder if we need to.
Yeah,
There might be enough though, I did 10 I think.
Oh wow.
Oh, there we go. I thought I was pretty sure.
Right, Jacqueline
That's
Moore.
it. Everyone got one? Pretty much?
Yeah, we can share that.
Yeah, okay, cool, great. Alright, so what we're going to do is, if you go to, I'm not sure which page it is, but towards the back of the report, you'll see the test. It's got loads of boxes. Yeah, that's the one. Even though it's my form.
One, it's the third page.
Yeah, great. So I'm just going to hold that one for a second. So, like I said, here's the key thing about this test. So, like the hob on the oven, you have all four. So you're not, oh, I'm earth and you're fire, and it's like we have all of them. So for instance, when I first did this test, it revealed to me that highest was fire, second highest was water, third highest was earth, and fourth highest was air. I've since done that test again. The order is the same, but the numbers now have started to even out a bit, probably because I'm aware of this now. So I've made some changes. I've made some changes so that I can be more air and be more earth, because I want to have a balance of all those characteristics, because I know that I'm more likely to communicate effectively with people. So what I want you to do is, having a look at the box which is there, what I want you to do is put a number next to, and basically you're going to go across the top, right? So I want you to put a 4 in the box that's most like you and a 1 that is least. Now, what you need to know about this chart, and this is my air coming out here, is because I did this, it means that the design of it is not actually the best. So as you can see, the words sit next to the boxes, but actually that causes some confusion because, for instance, the first one on the left is decisive. That box that's next to it on the right is its box. Then you've got orderly, that's its box, considerate, that's its box, spontaneous, that's its box. So ignore the fact that ignore the word next to the box, just go from left to right, and then that will give you where you need to put your numbers. So what you're looking to do, looking at the top row, the first 4 words, you've got decisive, orderly, considerate and spontaneous. What I want you to do is look at those words, decisive, orderly, considerate and spontaneous, trusting your gut instinct, not overthinking it. I want you to go decisive, orderly, considerate, spontaneous. Which one am I most like? And once you've decided which one you're most like, I want you to go 4. Okay, great. So now there's 3 left, orderly, considerate, spontaneous, for instance. Which one am I next like? I think I'm considerate. Okay, great. Which one are you next like? Orderly. Okay, next one. So you're going to put a 2. And then least is spontaneous, so you're going to put a 1. And then you're going to do it across with each of them until we get to the bottom, and then we're going to add up the numbers vertically at the bottom. Does that make sense to everyone? Just to check. I'm assuming it is because you've already started. That's perfect. All right, so I'll let you carry on. So remember, left to right. So left to right in terms of the numbers. 4, the one that is most like you, 1 that is least like you.
fascinating to go.
Oh yeah. So that's like what is most important. So you've gone. That's most important.
Oh, okay, and then so that would be a 3.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And those of you that are done, once you've got a score written at the bottom, from left to right, I'd like for you to write Earth. So underneath this, the bottom score on the left, write Earth. Next one is Air. Next one is Water. And the next one and last one is Fire. So left to right at the bottom, underneath your total score, once you've added it up, it's the order on the screen: Earth, Air, Water, Fire, from left to right. Alright, so what I would love to do is go around and for you to reveal what is your highest 2. So we'll start with Kyle this side. So it's really important that everyone kind of listens into this bit, because obviously what I think Sam would be really useful to do is to kind of somewhere make a note of almost like storing these results. So maybe like if everyone puts their name probably on the top of their Tetramat workbook, probably if you did that now actually, because I think it'd be really useful for really the organisation to know what everyone's personality type most suits, because that can be really useful from a leadership point of view. Kyle, go.
Yeah, so my top one was Earth, and then in second was Fire.
So Earth was first, Fire was second. Cool. Awesome. Oh, really? Wow. Awesome. Alex?
Yes, the same. First, Fire second.
Cool. Scott?
Air first, Earth close second.
Rob?
Earth first, Air second.
Yes, same.
Sam?
Earth first, Air second.
Yeah. Ali?
Water and fire.
Yeah.
Group fitness.
Nice.
I'm still going, so.
I'll come back to you.
Another one.
Tommy?
Fire first and Earth second.
Fire, Earth second. Lauren?
Water and fire.
Fire. Right, Kelly?
Water first, air second.
First, Air second. Great, perfect. Okay, so knowing what you now know about these personality types, the key thing moving forward, I think, if we just, let's say, direct Sam just for a second, is having the knowledge of these elements can be really useful, because effectively what it allows you to do is allows you to look at effectively components of the gym
Yeah.
and design the role to meet the individual. So for instance, I'm seeing, like for instance, so Rob being earth and air, to me that's management and data. So it's like a good person that's good at management, good at data.
Yep.
So then I go, Scott for instance, great at data and also has that decisive element. I wouldn't have Scott unless it is his preference, because obviously it's not the highest order. I wouldn't have him, say, making a real beeline for like doing lots of group exercise classes, because he may be better utilised using his air and his earth skills.
Yeah.
At the same time, Ali, being water and fire, is really suited to being front facing on the gym floor, communicating with people and really getting to know them. And you can just see, because when you say that
Needs to change jobs then, Ali. You're in the wrong industry.
2 more classes.
because the funny thing is joking aside, but when you say that to a person, like when we said that to Ali, you saw her physiology change, like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when you have people doing the roles that are right for them.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we're there.
yeah,
I think we restructured okay.
yeah. And obviously, you know, obviously Lauren, high water, fire, so feelings and energy really important. Kelly, obviously water and air, so she's got the nice balance of the empathy and connecting with people, but also is really good and enjoys the numbers as well.
Yeah.
So there may be elements there where you you weren't sure on what people, what their strengths were, because you maybe were guessing at some strengths, but now this will tell you what people's, not just their strength, but their preferences. Because the key thing isn't strength, it's preference.
Yeah.
Because if you have a person who has a strength but it isn't their preference, it's pointless. Because it's if you know, say to a person, you know, Kyle, let's say you're playing football and you're a centre forward, and you go, but I don't really want to be a centre forward, I want to be a winger. So, yeah, but you're better as a centre forward. But I don't want to be a centre forward, I want to be a winger. There's no point really telling Kyle to play up front, because he doesn't want to play up front, he wants to be a winger.
Yeah.
Forgive those that are not into football. I'm basically just saying, don't put people in roles that are not what their preference is.
Yeah.
It's about finding the role that fits the personality profile, because then you're going to get the best out of that individual. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Did you get there in the end, Lois?
Lois?
Yeah, got water. And then
Water and
air.
cool. Great. So like connecting with people from feelings, but then also enjoy the data and the analysis and stuff as well. Perfect. Great. So so
That's why you and Kelly get on so well.
Knowing how many targets you got hit in a day. You like that, don't you?
Well, yeah.
Gives you a bit of direction.
Yeah. That's it.
But you also just like to
She's still on holiday mode, aren't you?
She's upside down on the Hulk.
But it's really interesting, because when you see the order and you see the order that people's are in, you start to see the relationships. So you see Lauren and Lois, their communication there, because actually their two elements were the highest, they're in the same order. So we inevitably are going to have rapport with people that have the same order, not just on the map, but in terms of human needs. But the point of this is not to then go, let's just gravitate towards Rob because we've got the same order. It's actually about going, now I understand Ali better. Based on this, I now know that if I'm going to communicate something to Ali, maybe I need to adapt. So I need to, if I'm going to communicate to Ali, then I'm going to communicate maybe gentler, because she's high water and high fire. So there's going to be, right, okay, like we're going to do this thing, like lots of energy, but also with an empathy and a almost like a gentle nature. Whereas say someone whose highest need is earth, with Alex, it's still going to be the energy, but I can probably be a bit more direct. And if I'm communicating with Scott, Scott's probably going to be really interested in the data. Like, okay, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Like, how are we going to measure this so that we can see that this has worked? How do we know that what we're going to do is actually what are the steps to make sure that we know that we're going to get that result that we're after? Does that sound about right for you, Scott? That would right, great, cool. So yeah, so I think the key thing is to keep these tests. Like, probably almost like gather them up and keep them.
Yeah.
And I think that you could almost build this into future communications, incentives with the team, because now you know what the needs are, and also the TetraMap highest elements as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So I've got some examples on that in a minute, but before we move on, so were any of you surprised by what came up? Have you got any questions, comments, thoughts on
I
that?
think I did one wrong. In all honesty.
You're not very
What were you on that? We did something similar a while ago, didn't we? Like with the colours, very similar.
Oh, yeah.
Red,
was
different
that
energies.
Myers-Briggs or disc profile?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So we did that, didn't we? We've got it up on the board.
Yeah,
What,
nice.
what colour were you in?
Blue.
Everyone was green, apart from
Yeah.
you and I.
Everyone was green.
Yeah.
But yeah, similar, and it's good,
Nice.
like I say, for recruitment. I know, Alex, you've used it, haven't you? Like from recruitment point.
So so I've been through DISC and Myers-Briggs, and the reason I love TetraMap more is because it clearly frames that we're all components. I felt that when I did DISC profile, it was like, you're that colour or you're that colour, and I was like, oh, so. Whereas it didn't say, oh, I can be a bit blue, a bit red, a bit green. It just felt like it was like pigeonholing me into one thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, yeah, we're all of this. We're just running in a different order. Just running in a different order. Any other questions, comments, or thoughts?
That's good. I think just like I say, we can just try and apply it when you meet prospective new members. Where do you think, from that needs analysis that you do, where do you think they're going to fit on here? How do you tailor your tour to meet their needs and pitch that correctly for them so that they really buy into you?
Yeah, absolutely. So knowing what you now know, can you start to think about how you will change your communication based on some of the people that, basically a member that you can think of, or members you can think of? Can any of you think of an example where you've not had the kind of rapport with a person that you would have liked, and now you see that it's because of this model, because you think, if I had to guess, that person's probably high that, and maybe I was communicating to them from my element more than I was their element. Can any of you think of an example like that?
Also, like an example of each member. So, can we name a member that is like higher?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, let's do that. So let's talk high earth. Can you all name a member that you
Sue's
think?
fire, definitely.
Yeah.
So you've got a member called Sue's who's fire. Okay.
100%.
Why is she fire,
She
Kelsey?
does about 12 classes a day. She's fun. She's always full of energy. She's enthusiastic. She just loves the club. She loves the members. She loves the staff.
It is 12, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
yeah, I'd say Sue's fun, fire.
Nice. That makes perfect sense. She sounds very high fire.
So maybe like John Murray, think about him, maybe Earth.
Yeah.
It's quite steady, he's consistent. Whether that's in his manner in here, obviously from a business point of view, with his training.
Yeah.
He's maybe not initially the most sociable, but once you actually do talk to him, he is very, very sociable.
Yeah.
But his time frame is quite consistent, isn't it? In his training.
Right. We'll go through and talk about how to communicate with these people in a minute. Someone else?
So Air is that Sabrina Millard. Like she comes in at the same time every day, like 5 PM on the dot. There's another machine. There's higher than the straight on. And then like off the machine. Actually not end that late. Gone by 2. Then like off 5:30. Every 6 weeks has a health and being check.
Okay.
She doesn't
Very
get involved in
structured,
anything
very-
that's so structured, but I think she has a high pressure job. It's like every day, Monday to Friday.
And she always has that health and well-being check on a regular basis.
Yeah, like every
Yeah,
6
nice.
weeks.
Yeah, nice. She sounds
Same running machine every day.
right.
Same distance every day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's high air for sure, 100%.
And a water one would be Louise Waller,
Yeah.
Louise.
definitely.
Yeah.
All about the
Yeah.
feelings
Yeah.
and
She
always
wants to feel
responds to
connected,
how
she's-
people are. and
Yeah,
what's-
absolutely.
yeah.
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 Great, brilliant. So we've got 4 people there. So let's talk about. Okay, so let's talk about Louise then. So Louise is high water. Knowing what you now know, to be in a position where you ensure that